Zack D Films is one of the biggest YouTubers on the planet, known for making some of the craziest and most viral videos on the internet, which has led to thousands of Zack D Films copycats trying to recreate his most cursed viral content. Weird me out, copycats.
If a cheetah and I Show Speed raced over 100 meters, most people would assume the cheetah would easily win.
Yeah, Speed's the fastest creator in the world.
Necessarily true.
Yeah, the cheetah would win.
Explodes
Speed's
off the
cooking
line,
this cheetah.
reaching incredible speeds within seconds.
He's gonna catch up.
However, after covering around
Go
80
Speed!
meters, its body begins to overheat, forcing it to slow down significantly.
These animations are trash.
Speed instead, on the other hand, yo, Speed, what the fuck? If you accidentally swallow it, it goes into your stomach, where a machine duplicates it.
Duplicates it?
Then your intestines put all the teeth in order.
His butt has
The
teeth?
ability to eat with your
Did his butt just bark?
It also has teeth now. He's gonna eat his own poop.
If you tear your fingernail like this, you may experience severe pain. Instead, tie a knot in some string, attach it to a door, and make sure it opens.
People do this with their teeth, not your
now,
skin.
when someone opens the
the voice is bad, the animations are bad, these clones suck.
put a light bulb in his mouth.
Why would you do that?
Bite
Once
it.
inside,
Don't
the light
bite
bulb
it.
was stuck. And he
Ooh.
couldn't open his mouth wide
That is
enough to remove
sus.
it. He went to the fire department and then to the hospital.
Oh,
but no one could help.
They're gonna have to break it in his mouth?
He screws himself to the ceiling with his friend's help.
That's insane!
What?
He blew up! I just saw a homie get screwed into the ceiling.
Some people intentionally remove their toenails before a marathon.
What?
This is done because when you run for many hours straight,
I've heard
your
about this.
toenails repeatedly hit the front of your shoe, which
Just take them off. Look, it's
Some
called
extreme
Zack
runners
Films.
even
What?
remove skin
This is
and
true.
muscle to increase friction.
Everything is wrong with this video.
If you collected every booger you ever made,
don't pick
how
your
big would the
nose.
final ball be?
He's making a
single
ball.
booger is about the size of a sesame seed and weighs roughly 50 milligrams.
Ew.
So if you picked one a day for 80 years, you'd end up with a basketball-sized blob
Wow.
weighing around
Shoot it.
2.2 pounds.
Kobe!
Unfortunately, by
made
that
it.
point, it's no longer possible to eat.
Don't eat your boogers. Matthew!
What would you do if a grenade landed right next to you? Most people think they should kick the grenade
While you're off the
immediately,
toilet?
but you're not Cristiano
Jump on it
Ronaldo,
like
who can
Captain
kick with
America.
insane power, perfect aim,
His
and send
ankle.
it flying far enough to save your life.
So I got poop on his
If there's
butt.
no cover, your only chance is to jump as far
Throw
as
in
you
the
can
toilet.
and hit the ground face down. Feet toward the blast, mouth open to protect your eardrums, and hands over your head and neck. Just remember, if you hear the ping, you have less than...
Pour one out for that guy.
If a man tried to fight a gorilla, he would get torn to pieces in seconds. But if you throw in 10 men at once, things start to get tricky, as the average man weighs about 180 pounds. But even combined, they wouldn't stand
Dang,
a
I'm
chance.
more than the average man,
If
sadly.
100 men swarmed the gorilla, they would
think the
actually
gorilla would
have
still
the weight
win.
and energy to drag it
That's
down.
a big
But even
gorilla.
pinned under
It's
a
like
pile of
Godzilla.
bodies, the gorilla would still be clawing
Oh!
and trying to tear its
He's
way.
still going. What?
I have a newfound appreciation for Zack D Films animations. These people are trash.
During medieval times, goats were commonly used to torture prisoners. First, the victims are tied down on their backs with their feet exposed.
Oh,
Are they gonna eat it?
The feet are soaked
No,
in
no, no,
salt
no, no.
water, and a goat is brought
it's
in
gonna
to
lick it.
the
I will
water
freak
off.
out.
Ew!
First, it might tickle,
That's
but as the goat continues
disgusting.
to live, the roughness of its tongue would cause layers of skin
Ow!
to deteriorate. The goat will keep licking until the flesh is worn
Ow!
away.
Is this
leaving
torture for the
prisoners
goat or
in
the
severe
person?
pain.
No way medieval people had clean feet. That's torture for the goat.
If a megalodon swallowed you, its huge teeth can tear your body in seconds.
Ooh.
But if you are lucky, you
Why
avoid
is it
the
on top
sharp
of the
teeth
water
and
like
go
that?
straight to his stomach, where
that a
you
uvula?
get slowly dissolved by its stomach acid.
How is
Sharks
this
have
To get
lucky?
out of this is by holding onto his uvula to lift yourself up. After that, look for something sharp to tear his tongue. as
Why would
this
there be
causes
sharp
him to spit
stuff?
you out. And if you are really unlucky, he would try to eat you again.
That was trash. Zack D Films gives you stories that can actually save your lives. Megalodons are extinct. And there's not sharp things in their stomach.
If Mr. Beast gave you $1 million, but you had to survive for
That does not
24
look like
hours,
Mr. Beast.
which house would you choose? The first is a regular house, but it's
Probably that one.
completely surrounded
Oh.
by
Oh,
zombies trying to
zombies?
break in. The second is a glass house by the ocean with fully
Shamu?
transparent walls, so you can see
that
everything
guy's gross.
outside. And the
That's
third is
scary.
a luxury mansion on a tiny
Looks
island,
pretty normal.
but there's a
Why
masked
is there
stranger
baby
hunting
Lou?
you the entire time.
These videos are somehow more unhinged and cursed than Zack D Films. That's Diddy's crib.
Have you ever wondered what would happen if you went days
That is
without
creepy.
sleep? On the first day, you'll start to feel sluggish and eye bags will appear under your eyes. By the third day,
look at what he's drawing.
You'll feel extremely
it's a creepy clown.
and have trouble concentrating,
Oh,
which
it's
can
gone
lead
now.
to paranoia. Able to stay awake for more than a week, your brain will stop functioning properly.
Oh.
which
This
can
is so
lead to
trash.
organ failure and in some cases, death.
He's even trying to talk in the same cadence as Zack D Films. Don't copy people.
This is the world's luckiest man. Meet
All right.
Frank Selak. In 1962, a train he was on derailed and plunged into an icy river.
I don't think that's lucky.
17 passengers.
Oh, look at him
Selak
flipping.
swam to safety with a
Oh, he
broken
survived.
arm and hypothermia. The following year, during his first
Don't
and
tell me his
only
plane's
flight,
gonna
a
crash.
malfunctioning door ejected him from the
Homie
plane,
just got
landing
wiped
him
out.
in a haystack. Over the next
I feel like
few
we've
years,
seen this.
Selak survived
pretty
a
lucky.
bus crash into a river, 2 car explosions, and being hit by a bus.
What?
Despite these close calls,
This is
in
not lucky.
2003, Selak won $1 million lottery.
I've definitely like heard this story before.
That's because Zack D Films actually made a video on this that this guy ripped off. Zack's was way better though.
How many iPhones Negamax would it take to reach your height?
Like
Let's
6,
assume
7?
that the new model is 8.75 millimeters thick, and you are about 5.9 feet tall.
I'm way bigger than
Stacking them
5'9".
one by one, you would need about...
What?
He didn't even answer the question. He got hit by a car.
If everyone farted at the same
Ew.
time, you might think it would create a global fart explosion. But is
That's
that really the
disgusting.
case? A single person's
Ew.
fart can
Why is he
actually
farting
contain
like that?
traces of flammable gas. But for something to actually happen, everyone would have to be in one place on Earth, and their farts would cause the
Ew,
Earth's
this is
rotation
so
to increase,
gross.
causing
No way.
everyone to age faster and die.
You're telling me farts can make the planet spin faster if you all fart in the same place?
There's no way.
By snapping your fingers, you can ask for anything you want, but only one wish can come true.
Oh.
Now, you
Subscribe.
would think that girls would wish for things like a new handbag, an expensive accessory, or a new
No.
phone, and
Whoa,
yes,
her
that
head
would go
just
like
turned.
this. But for boys, it's different because
Oh! Goodbye, half the universe.
If you're trapped in a room with walls closing in,
Oh!
first check for any
It's like a
red
Mr.
button
Beast
as it
challenge.
might be
Why
your
is he
only
not wearing
way out.
clothes?
If there isn't one, press your feet against both walls and push hard. You might be able to jam the mechanism, or you can use anything solid nearby, like a metal rod.
What if there's
But that
nothing
doesn't
inside of
work
there?
either, try climbing up, because
How would
there
you
might be
climb
a
the
gap
wall?
above the walls, which might be your only chance to escape.
That's kind of similar to a Zack D Films video because it's the most random instance of all time and he's telling you how to get out of it.
Put your foot in the stirrup and hold on to the saddle to prevent slipping.
Is this telling us how to
Push
ride a
your
horse?
right leg up forcefully to help you climb on.
Right.
Then swing your left leg over. Keep an upright position. Then press the red button to activate ride mode. Insert and turn the keys to
Okay,
start the
come
engine.
on.
Finally, slowly speed
How
up
much
with the
horsepower is
throttle.
on this? Oh, it farted!
If you walk into the gym
Look at
and
this guy.
see someone on the treadmill,
Oh.
which machine do you choose? If
The
you
far
pick
right
the
one.
on the far edge, you
Oh.
look like you're avoiding them. But if you
Right.
pick the one right next to them,
You seem
they'll
weird.
think you're starting a race, instantly
Oh.
turning a normal
guy's
workout
in
into an
flip-flops.
accidental Olympic
Oh!
event. The right choice to keep everything normal
third
is
one.
to leave one treadmill gap.
Okay. That's kind of the same thing you do at a urinal.
The fan caught the ball but refused to hand it over to Jokic,
Oh, that's my
delaying the
favorite
game.
player.
And after Jokic couldn't rip it out of his hands, he decided to elbow the fan and give him a nudge to push him back into his seat. Security quickly rushed to break it up, making sure the fan doesn't try to fight back. But when the refs did a video review, they found out that the fan was actually the owner of the other team, causing them to give Jokic a technical foul and award a free throw to the Suns. And once the game was fully over, the player was fined over 20.
I was gonna say I knew that story. I'm pretty sure it happened in the playoffs, but Jokic should not elbow him. I love you, Jokic.
How does your body turn
Oh!
food into poop?
Wow.
When you eat, your teeth breaks down the food into
The whole
small
burger
pieces.
went in like
it
that?
then moves to
I
your
don't wanna
stomach,
watch
where
this.
acids turn it into a soft mush.
Ew, it's a
From
little
there,
turd.
It goes into the
Ew.
small
Poo-poo.
intestine, where most nutrients get absorbed, only leaving behind fiber, water, and waste. This then moves to the large intestine.
Are we
where
really
water
watching
is
how poop
absorbed,
grows right
and
now?
bacteria
Okay.
help turn
Look at that cable
leftovers into
management, though.
poop, which gets
Ew.
stored in the rectum
Oh!
until it's time to go.
And why were his underwear on when he's going to the bathroom?
Do the royal guards wear such large hats compared to their bodies?
That's a good question.
Well, you
It's
might
fair
think it's
question.
to appear taller and intimidating, but that's not the case.
He looks so
Guards
fluffy.
were chosen only if they had
Okay.
pointed heads
What?
so they could hide them under their
on.
hats. And when ammunition
No.
ran out in battle, the guards could be used
Conehead!
If you breathe in with your mouth, some people think it can change your jawline, but it actually pushes your jaw
Mouth breathing is
backward,
bad.
increasing the risk of sleep apnea and snoring. Breathing through your nose, however, lowers anxiety by maintaining higher carbon dioxide levels in your body, which calms your nervous system. It also naturally keeps your tongue pressed against the roof of your mouth, pushing the maxilla forward, which over time can improve facial looks.
I use mouth tape when I sleep, but sometimes I feel like I'm gonna die.
In the 18th century, a Russian woman set a world record giving birth to an astonishing 69 children. With over 27 pregnancies, she delivered 16 pairs of twins, 7 sets of triplets, and 4 sets of quadruplets.
That's insane.
She holds a Guinness World Record for giving most birth in the history.
That's a lot of babies.
If you jump out of an airplane without a parachute, here's what to do to save your life.
You're done.
First, stay calm and stabilize your body. Second, go to McDonald's and order a Big Mac large menu. Then take your phone, like this video, and finally turn your body around and fart repeatedly to slow your speed.
That is not gonna work.
This way you should land soft.
He found a bloody Band-Aid while eating his McDonald's French fries on his drive home. He proceeded to spit out his food and immediately called the manager to complain. And since he hung up on him, he decided to take a picture and post it online. But after the manager saw that it actually went viral, he offered him a gift card worth $25.
Dwayne Johnson stole a jumbo Snickers bar while the store manager was busy with customers.
Why is he stealing?
As a struggling 14-year-old in Hawaii, he would stop at the same 7-Eleven on his way to the gym each day and secretly took a Snickers for extra calories because he couldn't afford one. And more than 30 years later, he showed up outside that same store in a black SUV and bought every Snickers bar on the shelves to repay what he owed.
That doesn't really repay, it's just purchasing new items.
When you get your tongue pierced, they clamp it down to keep it still, then push a needle through to make a hole and slide in the piercing bar. Now, after a few days, your tongue should start healing, but your mouth is actually full of bacteria, which greatly increases the risk of an infection.
What if you hated McDonald's after that?
That'd help me. I'd lose a lot of weight.
Ronaldo launches himself backwards as the ball rushes towards him, lifting his non-kicking leg to gain height.
Bicycle kick.
At the peak of his jump, his eyes stay locked on the ball as he whips his kicking foot through the middle, snapping his core tight and spreading his arms wide for balance as his body crashes down. And while he absorbs the impact with his back, the ball bends through the air,
he missed it
past the Juventus players
he didn't even
and
hit
the keeper before
Was that
slamming
speed?
into the net.
That was ISO speed.
Why do you always lose at arm wrestling?
I don't.
You see,
Never
most people just push sideways with their arm.
There is a technique
that
to
puts
this. I
all
want
the
to learn.
strain on your elbow. Makes it easy to get beat. Instead, pull your opponent's hand towards your own shoulder to close the gap. And use your entire body weight to lean sideways for leverage. Finally, he will be out of energy, so you quickly let go of his hand, and he will punch himself in the face.
Oh, he just lost a tooth.
Tape him to the roundabout.
Oh, look at his feet. That's a crazy way to emote.
Here's how to win the jump rope in Squid Game, step by step.
Ooh.
What you need is focus and concentration. Then make sure the doll has eaten an explosive
She
chicken
just
burrito.
farted on him?
Take a few steps forward and focus on the rotation of the rope so that you can calculate the turns per second and figure.
Oh!
When you wake up in the morning, do you ever wonder why your breath stinks? See, when you're asleep, your mouth produces less saliva. This
your mouth's
saliva
open.
is meant to wash away food particles and bacteria, keeping your mouth clean. With less saliva being produced, your mouth begins to dry out. Bacteria then starts to form at the back of your tongue and throat, causing this bad breath.
That's really disgusting.
If you use cotton swabs to clean your ears,
I do this.
be careful. Many people use cotton swabs without knowing how dangerous they can be. Not only can they cause infections, but when you use a cotton swab,
it can push it deeper.
Earwax deeper into the ear.
Why does it feel so good if you're not supposed to use it?
Use a flak 18 to 36 88 mil.
Are we? I don't think that got any of his earwax out.
Basketball backboard were curved. Would it mean that you could also join the NBA? Well, a standard basketball board is flat, where players have to position their shots at such angles so that the ball bounces from the board straight into the hoop.
No one uses
but
the
by
glass,
curving
bro.
the basketball backboard, the
It
focus
makes all of them
shifts
go
to
in.
one single point, which makes the ball bounce straight back into the hoop
This is
no
cool.
matter where you hit on the board.
That's the best Zack D Film clone that I've seen so far, because I love basketball.
When you're on a plane, there are unwritten rules everyone should follow. If you're in the
You're
middle
not supposed to
seat,
recline the
both
seat.
armrests are yours. That's your only prize for sitting between two strangers. Don't recline your seat without checking behind you, unless you enjoy starting a silent war with a stranger.
That's a huge thing on TikTok right now.
And never take off your shoes unless you're absolutely sure you're not bringing chemical warfare on board.
Oh. It's a huge debate online if you should recline your seat or not.
You should not. I never do.
Comes with your ticket, so I feel like you should be able to.
In 2017, a woman in the UK was seen vomiting poop.
It's
it all
poop?
started when she began experiencing
How do you throw up
severe
poop?
abdominal pain after going what was supposed to be a normal surgery. During the procedure, doctors were attempting to remove a small fluid-filled sac around
jelly
her
bean.
bowel. However, without realizing, they accidentally
This animation is so bad.
causing feces to leak into her abdomen. As the waste started to build up, it led to a blockage in her intestines. This prevented the waste from passing through her digestive system,
So the
resulting
poop's
in
going the
her
wrong
vomiting
way.
out.
Oh! It looks like chocolate.
You get pink eye. Your eye becomes red, itchy, and watery. This happens due to an infection or irritation in the thin tissue covering your eyes. The infection causes your blood vessels to swell, giving your eyes a pink appearance. In response, your body sends white blood cells to fight the infection, leading to itching and discharge. And after a few days, your eyes will heal back to normal.
That did not look normal. He was looking at me and Sharon at the same time.
If you get a subwoofer big enough, can you use it to fly?
It's like a trampoline.
A normal subwoofer is about 15 inches.
That's a cool question.
Just enough to crush your windows and destroy your eardrums. But to actually lift you off the ground, you'd need one the size of a stadium, pumping out 200 decibels per second. That's like 100 million times the power of a normal-sized one. And the instant it switches to maximum...
Oh!
He did not fly.
If you see a baby flying and coming towards you in a tourist
flying
area,
baby.
Congratulations, you have just entered into a scam. Women scammers in tourist area would intentionally bump into you and trip, where their baby goes straight into the sky, and your instinct kicks in to catch and save the baby. And the moment you realize what just happened, people in the street start beating you up. The best way to avoid this scam is to control your instinct
Let the baby fall?
and run from the spot as fast as possible.
I feel like you catch the baby and you get out of there.
Curry grips the ball with his fingertips, making sure it never touches his palm. You see, most people push the ball with their thumb, which kills the shot's perfect curve. But Steph keeps his elbows tucked in tight, letting his knees generate all of the power to hit the shot. And as long as you flick your wrist and follow through, you'll hit 3.
Zack D Films has never taught me how to be better at basketball. Maybe the clones are pretty cool.
Imagine if you could accidentally swallow your own tongue.
Like
One wrong move,
I think you can.
and it just slips back into your throat. But that's actually not what happens. When your muscles relax to a certain degree, your tongue might shift towards your throat and block your airway, which can make breathing a little harder. But your tongue is also anchored to the bottom of your mouth, and this makes it almost impossible for you to swallow your tongue.
Oh, okay. You can't.
If you're at a restaurant with friends or family, which rules do you follow? If there's one last piece of pizza, who should take it? The one who pays the bill? The one who's still hungry? Or the one who grabbed it first? Who do you think should pay the bill? The richest person? The one who ate the most? Or the one who suggested the restaurant?
I feel like you should split it.
I agree. I think you should always split it, but if not, it's the person who picked the restaurant.
When you eat a burger, your stomach breaks it down into pieces so your body can process it. The glucose ends up getting converted to glycogen and stored in your liver, which your body uses for immediate energy.
I don't understand
but
it.
if you have already eaten too much that day, your liver is already full and the excess glucose ends up getting converted to fat.
He got a weird idea of spinning his Beyblade from the top of the building
this is not gonna end well.
According to the statement,
kind of a cool idea,
he was expecting to unleash a Pegasus out of it. But when he spun the Beyblade, it landed directly onto the woman's head. The sharp pin pierced deep.
Where did her face
into her
go?
brain.
Where did her face go?
To ER.
He ends his story so much sooner than Zack D Films. We'll never know what happened to that woman.
A teenager head was separated by a roller coaster, going 50 miles an hour at a Six Flags amusement park.
By
He and his friend climbed 2 6-foot fences to enter a restricted area.
Look how crazy that roller coaster
warning
is.
signs along the way.
The animation is so bad they're not even moving. Look, they're standing still.
But the ride approached suddenly
They're frozen.
and hit him at full force, severing his head right from his body.
That's why you listen to signs that says do not enter, you don't enter.
When you get a tattoo removed,
is that Mike
doctors
Tyson?
will laser your body to remove
Did he get that removed?
The laser sends out quick pulses of light that breaks the ink into microscopic pieces. Your body's immune system then kicks in and starts clearing away these tiny ink particles.
It's so interesting you can remove a tattoo.
Your skin will be back to normal.
That's why I just kept my tattoo. I love you, Mama.
iShow Speed burst into tears holding a red coupon on live stream. You see, Speed got a gift box from KFC, and inside he had a coupon that was promising him fried chicken for a lifetime. And as the dude was crying over unlimited fried chicken, he started flashing the coupon on camera, and smart people all over the world took a screenshot, ordering large orders on the same QR code, which ultimately caused millions of dollars of loss for KFC until they had to deactivate the code.
You have to be so careful on live stream not to expose anything.
Have a giant pimple? Don't squeeze it. Pimples are ugly and even painful, but squeezing them would not solve the problem. Instead, wait 9 months. You could give birth to a mega explosive
pimple baby.
Ew, it had hair.
If you were in this situation, which one would you save first? The dog, someone's child, or $10 million? If you save the dog,
this makes it
you
hard.
protect a loyal friend who would never betray you.
Makes it hard?
If you save
gotta
the
save
child,
the kid.
you become a hero and everyone cheering your name.
Golden
but if you save the money, you could buy a new house, a new car, or anything you've ever wanted.
I would save the child.
I would save the kid because all dogs can naturally swim and you don't need money.
Have you ever wondered how to calm a crying baby on
Look at that
board
shirt.
an airplane? Most people think the best solution is to hand them a toy, switch on some cartoons, or try gentle rocking to help them shift attention.
If this guy can actually solve the crying baby, I think I need a second.
Wearing AirPods is dangerous because they act as earplugs and cause earwax to build up. And that's not all. Instead, use the Bosch Professional Hammer Drill G.
Look at his head! He looks like Sid from Ice Age.
A cat fell from a building and landed on a criminal who was robbing an old woman.
Oh, it landed on the criminal.
Pull the trigger, hitting a bus driver who then crashed into some
It's a chain reaction of death.
An elderly man had a heart attack from the shock, but at least the old lady was.
No! Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to click these videos right here. I'll see you next time. Subscribe. Bye!